This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The health minister's driver and assistant returned the honorarium. This amidst controversy. Wells says he asked them to give back the money. Meanwhile, that sick out spreads among healthcare workers. And the education minister says 11% improvement in A to C grades in the BGCSE. Plus, in our discussion today, we are talking about the different vaccines that are now available in the Bahamas, what you need to know about each one of them, and what you need to know about mixing them. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight, Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner is going to be here filling in for Don Sargent today. Also this morning, we are talking with the Bahamas Insurance Association. They are going to dispel some of those vaccine rumors that are running rampant. They're going to tell you the truth about insurance and the vaccines. And later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about the new procurement processes that go into effect September 1st. What you need to know. It's all straight ahead. A lot to get to this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, as scores of public health care workers on New Providence and Grand Bahama called in sick for a fifth day over the disbursement of honorariums. Health Minister Remert Wells saying that his driver and personal assistant, who were each awarded an honorarium of $1,158.40, returned the money to the government after he asked them to. Wells says he also intends to provide to Cabinet for review the list of names of employees who were nominated to receive an honorarium, as well as those who have yet to. The government committed to pay honorariums to healthcare workers who worked during the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a pre-recorded video message released last night, Wells says that on August 4th, 1,732 employees in the health ministry started to receive honorariums. He said shortly after the payouts were made, reports began circulating on social media that he'd received an honorarium of $10,000 and that his driver and personal assistant received honorariums of $5,000 each. He again denied that this happened. He said that he did not receive an honorarium and that his driver and personal assistant did not receive $5,000 each, and that they did receive that $1,158 payment. But he did say that he asked them to return the money, and they agreed to do so. In a statement last week, the Ministry of Health denied reports that Wells received any of the funds allocated for the honorariums put aside for frontline and non-frontline workers, but it confirmed that his driver and personal assistant did receive that money. With that sick out, the days-long sick out spread to Sandlands Rehabilitation Center yesterday and continued to negatively impact Princess Margaret Hospital and Grand Bahama Health Services, which were already facing staff shortages prior to the unrest. The sick out began last Thursday and appears linked to that decision by healthcare workers on who will receive the COVID-19 honorariums and who will not. A senior physician yesterday saying that some lives will be put at risk as the unrest provides additional challenges for an already strained healthcare system. Governor General Sir Cornelius A. Smith has tested positive for COVID-19. It happened over the weekend despite being fully vaccinated. Smith, who is 84, is asymptomatic. A statement saying that on Friday, out of an abundance of caution after coming into contact with an individual who was COVID positive, Governor General was tested, and that the result was confirmed to be positive by Sunday evening. And the families of two healthcare workers who died from COVID-19 while working on the front lines of the pandemic, each awarded $100,000 from the Ministry of Health. The checks were awarded to the families of nurse Sherilyn Charlton Bain and custodian Marion Burrows McKinney during a brief ceremony at the ministry yesterday. There was an almost 11% increase in the number of students who received an A, B, or C grade in the BGCSE in 2021. Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd saying students performed excellently in the national exams. Overseas, Tropical Storm Grace swept over Haiti with drenching rains just 2 days after a powerful earthquake battered the impoverished Caribbean nation, adding to the misery of thousands who lost loved ones, suffered injuries, or found themselves homeless, and forcing overwhelmed hospitals and rescuers to act quickly. After nightfall, heavy rain and strong winds whipped at the country's southwestern area, hit hardest by Saturday's quake, and officials are warning that rainfall could reach 15 inches in some areas before the storm moves on. Port-au-Prince, the capital, also saw heavy rains. Grace regained tropical storm status after previously falling to the level of a tropical depression. The storm arrived on the same day that the country's Civil Protection Agency raised the death toll from the earthquake to 1,419 and the number of injured to 6,000, many of whom have had to wait for medical help lying outside in wilting heat. Grace's rain and wind raised the threat of mudslides and flash flooding as it slowly passed by southwestern Haiti's Tiburon Peninsula overnight before heading toward Jamaica and southeastern Cuba today. And the Taliban in Afghanistan declaring an amnesty across the country and urging women to join their government today, seeking to convince a wary population that they have changed a day after deadly chaos gripped the main airport as desperate crowds tried to flee the country. Following a blitz across Afghanistan that saw many cities fall to the insurgents without a fight, the Taliban have sought to portray themselves as more moderate than when they imposed a brutal rule in the late 1990s. But many Afghans remain skeptical. Older generations remember the Taliban's ultra-conservative Islamic views, which included severe restrictions on women, as well as stonings, amputations, and public executions before they were ousted by the U.S.-led invasion that followed the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. While there were no major reports of abuses or fighting in the capital of Kabul, as the Taliban now patrol its streets, many residents have stayed home and remained fearful after the insurgents' takeover saw prisons emptied and armories looted. Many women have expressed dread that the two-decade Western experiment to expand their rights and remake Afghanistan would not survive the resurgent Taliban. In sports, Team Bahamas at the IFBB, the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness, 48th Annual Central American and Caribbean Bodybuilding and Fitness Championships, returning home. They might have left in a small number, but they produced big results, averaging a medal for each participant at the prestigious regional championships. That 8-member team returned home with 8 medals, 2 gold, 3 silver, and 3 bronze medals. You can read more about how they did in today's Guardian Sports section. Overseas, all fans will be barred from the Paralympics in Japan because of the coronavirus pandemic, just as they were from the recently completed Tokyo Olympics. There were a few exceptions made during the Olympics, with some fans allowed in outlying areas away from Tokyo. This time, all fans will be barred except for the possibility of some children attending a few unspecified events. Organizers have also asked the public not to come out to view road events. The decision, announced after a meeting with International Paralympic Committee President Andrew Parsons and other members of the team. The Paralympics open on August 24th with about 4,400 athletes. A far smaller event than the Olympics with 11,000 athletes, but the Paralympics come as new infections have accelerated in Tokyo, which may expose an athlete population that is more vulnerable to COVID-19. Parsons, speaking at a news conference yesterday, said there was no room for complacency in the wake of the Olympics. New infections in Tokyo tripled during the 17 days of the Olympics, although medical experts say the surge was not directly linked to the Olympics. Rather, experts suggested an indirect effect as the public was distracted and lulled into a false sense of security that staging the games offered. With the situation growing worse, Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga on Monday said a state of emergency in Tokyo and other areas will be expanded until September 12th. The state of emergency has been in force since July 12th and was to end later this month. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In weather for today, residual moisture across the Bahamas will maintain pockets of shower activity over portions of the islands. Meanwhile, high pressure will progressively build across the country through tonight, supporting moderate to locally fresh winds. Boaters should be alert for the slight risk of rip currents. And water spouts, beachgoers should exercise caution due to the rip currents at eastern shorelines. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities and prolonged sun exposure, as heat indices will soar into the triple digits again today. For all areas today, your forecast calls for variably cloudy, very warm, and breezy to windy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Smallcraft advisory in effect in the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds east to southeast at 15 knots in the northwestern islands, but easterly at 15 to 25 knots in the central Bahamas, with higher gusts in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 3 to 5 feet in the northwestern islands, 5 to 8 feet in the central islands, but higher gusts in the southeastern islands. Temperature-wise, today look for highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be up to 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic and a look at the tropics. A lot happening. I'll tell you all about that in just a bit. It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up today. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Don Sargent is off today. We've got Laverne Gardner filling in this morning. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Great to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
All right, we have a lot to get to this morning. It's going to be a busy morning. You can join the conversation as well on Twitter at MorningBlend969 or Facebook, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Email us morningblend@nasgard.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-GR96, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic, and in a few minutes we're going to be talking with Dr. Dwayne Sands. We're going to be talking about the vaccines. We now have a plethora of choices for vaccines. You've got AstraZeneca, you've got Pfizer in a few days, Johnson & Johnson. So if you're on the fence about which one to take, we're going to talk about them, the differences, and what you need to know if you are considering mixing them. And the latest news on boosters and what that's going to mean. All of that we're going to get into this morning. Then later in our 8 o'clock hour, we're talking with the Bahamas Insurance Association. You've seen and heard the rumors, people saying lots of nonsense out around about what happens to you if you have COVID and your insurance. The Insurance Association is going to be answering those questions and dispelling the myths and the rumors today. That's coming up. Then later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about the new procurement processes that go into effect in just a few weeks, September 1st. We'll talk about that, especially as this is a hot button topic these days. So a lot to get to on this busy Tuesday morning. Let's begin, though, with what's in the news. And in the news, this honorarium situation getting a little wackier, and the sick out is spreading and going now into 5 days. Today might be 6. And late in the evening, a video release from Health Minister Robert Wells, who announced that he asked his driver and personal assistant to return the honorarium that they received. After this became very controversial, many people were under the impression they would be receiving
there's this over the past few days, didn't get anything, and many believe this is the reason for the sick out. Yet, the health minister's driver and personal assistant received. And they're all saying they worked during the pandemic as well, so why not them? Of course, since then, the Public Hospitals Authority has issued a statement saying that more is coming over the next, through the August pay period. And so it's just getting very complex and complicated there. But, Wells says they've returned it. He asked them to, and they did. And they received not the $5,000 that was going around, but the $1,158.40 each. Well, as we said, that's sick out. What was that, Laverne?
So I don't know how anyone did not see this coming from the very beginning, as I said to you. I knew this honorarium was going to be an issue. I just knew it. And so why not give off, right? How do you single out who did what? What's the premise for this? How do you figure that out? I may not have initially volunteered, but I'm now working extreme hours. I came in midway and I've been in ever since, just in the trenches. So I'm not deserving. You know, you get into all of that, picking and choosing who, and others feeling slighted, and maybe rightly so. I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, how is this really going to work and not be an issue? I don't know if I even want to touch the driver and all of that.
Well, hey, you know, how do you justify that, right? And again, as you said, them before the other workers. Now, of course, the PHA issued a statement, and they were explaining how this was determined and the different categories they had, the criteria, and those who volunteered without having to be nudged basically were in a different category from those who came to work even though they were reluctant to do so. Okay. But yeah, so they had different categories, and that's how they.
So you're saying So you're saying then, some employees who were very concerned and did not want to put themselves at risk or their families at risk because it was new. We didn't have a lot of data, so they're going to be punished because they chose that route.
Well, punished isn't the right word.
But they left out of the honorarium.
They will. It sounds like they will receive, but they won't get as much, and they didn't get as early.
Right, and they won't get it before the driver and the personal assistant.
Well,
they don't have it anymore, right? Because it was asked to be returned.
Boy, so you got to be careful when you get these things from the government. You got to keep it before they ask. Don't spend anything.
Don't spend it.
Wait a few days. You
right.
sure? You
At
sure this is good?
Hold the check.
Yeah.
The check.
Don't do anything yet. Boy. All right. So while this is all happening, the sick out is getting worse. And that means that more people's lives are in jeopardy as there are very few people to help deal with their situations. For more on the toll this is taking, take a listen to this report from our Kyle Joaquin.
Every month. Around 100 Princess Margaret Hospital employees gathered outside the facility this morning to voice their grievances over a controversial honorarium list and working conditions. Our News understands more than 300 employees called in sick today, leaving the hospital in a jam for the 5th straight day. And the list has grown, with employees from the hospital's kitchen and housekeeping also calling in. Bahamas Public Service Union President Kimsey Ferguson had no comment on the sick-out, but he advised of a scheduled meeting with management at PHA to discuss the honorarium list and the subsequent fallout. And this sick-out is having an effect on the living and the dead.
Bodies are housed in the morgue. Bodies cannot be released to us for burial. And at the same time, we are at a point where we can't even put bodies into the morgue that would have died outside of hospital because the morgue is full to capacity.
Bahamas Funeral Directors Association President Kurt Ferguson said funeral homes have had a tough time over the last 5 days as they were unable to pick up or even drop off bodies at the Rand morgue due to the suspension of services.
We were adamant and insisting that a doctor come to the house to sign a death certificate because of our fear that because the morgue is full, the body would actually decompose if we were to attempt to take it to Princess Margaret. Because one, there's no personnel there to receive us, and number two, the morgue is full to capacity.
PHA said in a statement, morgue services resumed Monday with the release of remains. Identification of remains will resume on Tuesday. But up to this afternoon, funeral directors called the situation a nightmare, making the grieving process even harder for families. Vaughn Jones called it vexing, as one funeral had to be postponed because the body couldn't be collected.
It's very difficult for families as well, due to the fact that the grief process is such on them, and so from our standpoint, with the morgue having these delays, it is causing much problems.
When we visited the Merritt's funeral home, we met a family that had been trying to get their mother's remains from the morgue since she passed away on Friday. While they did not wish to speak on camera, Demerit's managing director Llewellyn Aswood II said the sick-out at PMH has been doing more damage to families than one can imagine.
It's just a matter of us being not able to control the situation. You know, we do not have control of the morgue staff, so right now we as funeral directors, we are trying to be as accommodating as possible to the morgue staff as well as to the family members so that we could try to be a bridge to the gap. Right. Yes, so that we could get things done in a timely manner.
Denali Penmaki of Evergreen says to call it a hard situation to deal with would be an understatement.
We cannot plan a funeral with the body in the morgue. Neither can the family proceed with their business with the body in the morgue because we don't receive death certificates until the body is released. And usually the family need their death certificate for insurance purposes. We need it for NIB, we need it for social service, for whatever, banking institutions.
Our Kyle Joaquin with that report there. All right, so that's what's happening there at the morgue, which is already in a precarious position. And today's National Guardian is reporting that it's spread to Sandilands now, and a senior physician says that lives will be put at risk as the unrest provides additional challenges for an already strained healthcare system. Consultant General Surgeon Dr. Loxley Monroe saying, quote, the sick-out really and truly negatively impacts all over again, meaning that it was already difficult to get things done, and now it's even harder to get those things done. It's even harder, which is what it all boils down to. Public Service Union President Kimsley Ferguson estimated that about 300 healthcare workers called in sick yesterday. And he says, quote, I am very concerned. I hope they did not catch COVID. Now, that is not... Now, come on now.
The sick out, Dwight.
Come on.
The sick out.
Ah, boy. Ferguson also says, quote, I haven't spoken to members who told me they're ill. I haven't done that, but I'm understanding it's affecting a number of departments, the radiology department, the labs, housekeeping. Mm-hmm. All right, so now the PHA says that due to the sick out, the public can expect delays in accessing services at these institutions, and that affected institutions have implemented measures to mitigate the effects of staff shortages where possible. The authority is recommending, where possible, the public access services at community clinics for non-urgent care. PMH is experiencing limited staffing in the grounds, housekeeping, laundry, food services, radiology, and laboratory service departments. The blood bank has been closed since Thursday, but resumed services yesterday, and lab services at Agape Clinic were suspended until further notice. So this is pretty serious what's happening here.
It's very serious, and I think it's on the managers and everyone in hospital authority to work as quickly as possible to try to resolve this.
Yeah. It's terrible.
I just think that some employees maybe have reached a point where enough is enough for them. We don't really know the conditions they have been working under for however long they've been working under those conditions. And they may just have reached a point where, they've been, I guess, reasonable and making do. And they're at a point where they're taking a stand. but it is in the best interest of all of us that this comes to some sort of resolution as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Again, you're doing more damage. 5 days sick, you're likely to get a cut for the days that you've missed here. I mean, of course, you're healthcare professionals. I'm sure you'll be able to get a sick slip, but you may get cut. And was that going to be worth the honorarium? What?
For them, maybe everybody reaches a point where you just determine that regardless of what the consequences are, I'm going to stand up for what I believe is right.
Wow.
And, that's not a bad thing. But then you reach that point that it just, at this point, it's like, you know what? Yes, I may be cut for 5 days or 6 days, but I am standing up for what I believe is right for me and for the rest of my fellow employees. And so I'll just take that risk. But that seems to be the position that they've taken, that they're going to stand up and they're not going to accept what they deem as unfair treatment, unfair behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of what that means. So.
Well, Friday, as we mentioned it yesterday, the PHA said that more honorariums are coming. They said that it's going to period in a couple of weeks. And on Friday, they explained the tier system, as I said earlier. The first tier for employees who willingly volunteered in advance of the onset of the pandemic. According to the authority, those payments, which went up to $5,000, started on August 13th and concluded, I guess it was yesterday. Now, the second tier is for employees who volunteered at or after the onset of the pandemic or did not volunteer but were required to work as their job functions were directly related to COVID-19 management. The PHA said that those payments will start following the completion of the August 2021 payroll activities and are expected to be concluded within 5 business days.
Was this published, the TARE, was this published prior to them giving out the first set of honorarium?
I don't know about published, but but I'm not sure whether they knew that there was going to be this tier system for the honorarium.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but it would have been too late anyway because somebody was already monitoring your enthusiasm, and okay, we got you. We got you.
Okay, you have a plan. You're gonna do it and have a tier system. But if that's not conveyed to the staff to say those who are receiving honorariums, this is the way that it's going to be distributed. All I know is that Dwight got a check, and I work it just as hard as Dwight. I'm Dwight driver. At first, okay, I'm going to let it go. That was the last one.
But hey, he was there every day,
and
he
got a check.
Oh, boy.
And I didn't get a check.
Mm-hmm. But
so
you've been walking around here with a frown. You've been walking around here with a frown. And Dwight and the driver were smiling. Maybe that's it.
So,
All right, folks. Let's hear what you have to say about it. What do you make of all of this that's going on here? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-425. Just Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Remember, standard text rates apply. Okay, already got a lot of your text messages in. Let's get to those, and then we'll get to the calls. This person says here, how did the driver and assistant get on the list anyway? These healthcare workers need their money, just like how those who have contracts for vaccine rollout. Huh? What? Okay. Another one, will the honorarium improve customer service in the public service? Well, a lack of an honorarium certainly is impacting service. So I guess you have your answer.
A lack isn't helping either.
Right? That is causing big problems.
Yeah,
so maybe it would.
That's making customer service even worse.
I don't know if there is any customer service. This one says, if our children go to the shop and return a stolen item, it is still stealing. Enough is enough. What now? Well, this is really a stretch. Really a stretch. But they're saying the minister should resign. Okay. Stealing.
Ministers don't resign for stuff like this. Come on.
But it's not stealing.
No.
And they were
Yeah.
approved, right? They probably worked harder than ever.
Maybe the texter just meant that it was wrong. Even though they returned it, it doesn't make the initial decision of them receiving an honorarium right. Perhaps that's what they meant. And not necessarily that they were stealing, because that doesn't make any sense, because we know that they weren't.
Mm. This one says Mr. Wells again, and he was the one who didn't, what? Okay. Let's not do that one. This one says here, check out this scripture that will explain the sick out and the honorarium. James 3:16. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. Okay. Mm-hmm. This one here.
I'm gonna need that to be further broken down and tied in.
I mean, we don't really need an explanation. We know what we just want to know how much longer. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, what's this now? Okay, the first message was, can you ask the Cable Beach police to help get these morons running in the road in the dark to use the sidewalk or stay home? These blinking lights they have attached ain't cool. Y'all look dumb in the road. It's not safe, and they know this is wrong. Y'all don't do it anywhere else on the island. Well, that's not true. Just use these $1 million sidewalks, especially if you in all black and flashing lights like some expletive stuff here, in like a UFO into oncoming traffic. Well, no, it happens out east as well, especially during the height of the pandemic. It was really terrible. They're running 3 and 4 abreast in both lanes.
In the road?
In the road. Well, I mean, you can't run on a sidewalk. It's not good for you. It's painful. And the concrete, you don't want to run on concrete. Asphalt is much softer, so that's why runners run on the road. But careful, right? And they seem to think some of them seem to think they have a cloak around them to protect them from vehicles, maybe. But everybody needs to calm down. Some of the drivers in Cable Beach need to calm down too. But everybody needs to be more respectful.
Yeah.
This one here, they continue to say, the only good thing about this administration is that the squealer, Wells, so tied to Napoleon, Napoleon Menace, that they bound to go down together. They got to have dirt on each other to be cloaking all these bold scandals, especially after the whole corruption cleanup pledge used to win the 2017 election. I'm finding that the more people use Bible speak to communicate, the closer you got to watch them. Oh, my goodness. And nobody beats Squealer with that gaslighting Bible speak. Oh, my. Wow. That's a harsh.
They've had it this much.
That's a harsh text there. I feel like I need a shower after reading that one. That's been. Okay, another one here. By any chance, does your producer have the song "Driver Don't Stop at All" from Bushu Banton? What's that for? I don't know. We could see. This one says here good morning, the White. Wow. Okay.
I'm going to call you that.
No, please don't.
Please continue, the White.
So basically, the staff is letting people just die because the money makes no sense. Because of the money, it makes no sense.
Are they, though? Are they basically just, that's a lot to put on them.
But it's also not a lot of money. And let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn. I want to address the Rembrandt Wells issue, but I first want to ask you a question for your Mr. Dwight. What happens when you allow a male Ebola virus to mate with a female influenza virus? I'll leave that right there. Now, Mr. Rembrandt Wells, you remember when he was parliamentary secretary and he was caught up in a $6 million, I think he called it a letter of intent, that he claimed as an engineer, he signed an authorized signature. Remember that?
How could we forget?
No, how could we forget? Mm-hmm. And then he's now the right-hand man of somebody who just sat by and watched somebody else sign an unauthorized signature follow what's going on here, why he was picked. He's pretty good at signing signatures. But the honorarium, I understood it was supposed to be for those persons who worked on the first phase of this COVID thing, but when Mr. Wells was not the Minister of Health. You follow me here?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to find out now who trained Mr. Wells to be so sticky with his fingers. Just check out the churches he went to. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. All right.
It's a lot of homework, Dwight.
Hmm.
You got a lot to investigate and figure out,
Yeah.
especially that first part.
Well,
when you
I don't
find
know
that
if I
out
went
with the
to-
Ebola mate with the influenza.
I'm terrified to find out. I don't know if I want to find that one out, but okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller on the air.
Well, this is Strachan away.
Hi.
Hey, Dwight, I want to make 2 points, and I want you to count them. Number one, the international police should find out where this virus came from, because the problem we are in today, the indecency that we are in today, it's not our fault. My second point is, the way those people are being treated, the Bahamian people in general, all the people that are in the morgue and stuff like that, you can't take anybody to the morgue if they were to die. We are being treated like dead dogs, and it's wrong. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Some more messages here. Remember when the PM had to beg doctors to come to work? So because they were scared initially, now they wish to be paid or should be paid like others, according to your co-host. The devil is a liar. They will complain about getting cut. They will say it's unfair because they were so sick. They were not sick, but fighting for their rights and what's due to them. Okay. And this one says here, I'm in full agreement with cutting their pay for the sick out. They work to receive a salary. If their salary was cut, I can see the problem. But an honorarium is like a bonus. Shame on them for putting people's lives at risk. Another one, how many of those healthcare workers were laid off during the lockdowns last year? But none of them. None of them. Okay, let's take another call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, first time caller.
Hi, welcome.
Also, good morning to your guest.
Morning.
My biggest concern for my Bahamian people and the way they have been treated with the health system, I think for a long time, they put up with a lot from the government. But I think it's time for them to pay those people, pay all of them. Don't just pick certain people, just pay all of them. Pay up all the back pay and have those people, come back to work. Because, see, a person like me, if I work, you must pay me. I never heard a politician complain about their check being late. I never heard them complain about, not getting their check on time. They never volunteered to even, cut their check. But the other workers, they are suffering, not getting paid on time. Just pay the people, and they all will go back to work. Thank you.
Okay. Well, they say they're going to get the money in August, at the end of this month. It's coming. It's coming. Final call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning. Good morning. Pleasant day to you both.
Hi.
I understand you said it's coming. Well, praise the Lord. But I would like to address that honorarium situation. Now, it would have been nice if in a serious time of pandemic, if we were able to have persons volunteering. However, that was not the situation. Now, if we're going to pay someone for going the extra mile, of course, I think the nurses, the frontline workers, and not the drivers of a minister. So that is what has made the situation so. And I suppose that's caused the pot to boil over. I mean, the anger the retaliation, so to speak. So I don't believe in any instance those persons should be further penalized for standing up.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Just a few messages before we go to the break. If payments were dispersed in tiers based on the PHA statement, then how did the personal assistant and driver get paid? If at the start of the okay, that's what we're calling it, Wells wasn't Minister of Health, where then were they there for Dwayne Sands? Okay, that's interesting. I guess they worked straight through it, especially during the surges that we saw later in the summer.
Stop, Dwight. Don't go any further.
No, I can't. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question. What was Wells' position at the start of the pandemic? Also, Dwayne Sands worked super hard, even risked his career by bringing in swabs. Well, Dwayne Sands is going to be joining us in a couple seconds. He's not here to talk about that, but I can ask. I can ask. I'm glad for the health workers. Governments are always promising things they don't intend to do. The whole country needs to do something about the fixed date for the election now. We were promised, and it won't take no money to fulfill that promise. They lied too much. Oh, so we should all call in sick to get that. Maybe. Interesting. Okay, I disagree with financial reward for doing your job. What now? What? You mean bonuses on top of your financial reward? Because if you don't get a financial reward, then it's slavery? Anyway.
I guess they're not looking at just the salary as a reward.
Okay.
That's what you agreed to.
I see.
So that's what they're looking at. And, everybody has an opinion. It's an unfortunate thing that it's come to this, but I also take into consideration that we don't know what these people face on a day-to-day basis on their jobs. Maybe you say to yourself, okay, I can appreciate this, I could understand this, but then when you turn around and I don't get it, and I'm trying to work that out within my mind, okay, I didn't get an honorarium, that's okay, that's fine. I'm going to come to work, get dressed, do what I have to do. And then you find out that the minister's personal assistant and the driver, I know I said I wouldn't mention it again, they got an honorarium. That changes the whole thing. Then you're sitting there saying, what?
Yeah.
I didn't get anything and they got something? Now I have a problem.
Yeah. And this final one, the person says not agreeing with the financial reward, like when the two police officers were given a cash reward for dealing with the biker, reward them with promotion. Well, sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's nothing. You can't promote them. Sometimes you're not able to do that. And then you
there's no more. Right? There's no room for promotion.
And then you got a top-heavy department or agency, and nobody on the ground.
And we don't suffer from that.
Oh my goodness! No. Quick break. When we come back, Dr. Dwayne Sands will be here. We're talking about vaccines and all the differences and what you need to know about the differences between them, and what you need to know about mixing vaccines. That's all straight ahead. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Coronavirus update. I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. You may soon be able to get a COVID booster shot. Here's our Jackie Quinn.
2 inside sources tell the Associated Press it could be as soon as this week that U.S. experts would recommend all Americans, regardless of age, get a booster after their last dose of a COVID-19 vaccination. Although data indicate people are still well protected with the initial shots, National Institutes of Health Director Dr. Francis Collins had said this week there's concern the vaccine may start to lose some of its effectiveness. And he says the Delta variant is a nasty one to deal with, possibly sparking the need for booster shots.
But would there be enough vaccine?
The White House says even though the U.S. is providing millions of doses to other countries, there is enough supply to provide all Americans of all ages with booster shots if they're recommended.
I'm Rita Foley.
We've got your first check of traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Banking. Real-time traffic, Mile Butler Highway, seeing some heavy traffic just near Haroldtown lanes as you approach Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Elsewhere, not looking so bad. Even Gladstone Road looking pretty good. Just as you get closer to JFK, you'll see the building traffic in front of you. And just a reminder that Claridge Road work continues there, and you might want to avoid that area if you can. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while off
Reliant.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.05, VAT inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We're going to be talking with Dr. Wayne Sands in just a second, but we've got Education Minister Jeffrey on the live line with us. Good morning, Minister Lloyd. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Dwight, and good morning to Bahamas. Thank you so much for permitting me this few moments to just make a clarification. I received very early this morning a clip seeming to be confusing about what I said yesterday in a press conference, and I would like to clarify that with your permission, please. Firstly, I want to apologize to the Bahamian people for any misunderstanding that I may have caused in any presentations that I would have made. I thought I was clear, but I am happy to do so this morning. I wish to repeat the policy of the government, and that is there is no mandatory vaccination required for anybody for COVID-19. There is no mandatory vaccination required for anybody for COVID-19. For anybody. That includes students, teachers, educators, staff of the Ministry of Education, the Department of Education, or any other person in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You are strongly encouraged to get vaccinated. And those students who are able to, with their parents' consent, as provided by the health authorities, are encouraged to get vaccinated, but there is no mandatory requirement for vaccination, number one. What I further said was, in the Bahamas, for those students seeking to enter a public school for the very first time, that would be students coming in either to the preschool or to grade 1, they have to show proof of vaccination, which we normally know as the MMR, mumps, measles, and I think rubella. But there is no requirement for any student, or any teacher, any administrator, any educator, or any staff member to be vaccinated against COVID-19. None whatsoever. The Ministry of Education, Department of Health, or the health authorities are not making any such demand requirement on any public, any person in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Student or
Simply
teacher.
encouraging persons to get vaccinated. Right. And that's not just here in the Bahamas, that's across the globe. You are encouraged. In fact, the term I say is strongly encouraged, but there's no mandate for such.
Okay. All right. Mr. Lloyd, thank you for clearing that up. We're going to be joining us in a couple of days on the program.
And I think to
Thursday morning, right here on Morning Blend. Okay, we look forward to having
But I thank you very much, Dwight, for that opportunity.
Sure.
Again, no mandatory vaccination for COVID-19 is required in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for anybody.
Okay.
None.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Hope everybody heard that, and we'll make sure our news team gets onto that as well. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Okay. As promised, we're going to be talking about vaccines this morning, and now that we have so many different options, what you need to know about the differences between them. Joining us, former Health Minister Dr. Dwight Sands. Good morning, sir. Sorry about the delay, but great to have you with us as always.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good morning.
All right, so before we get into the vaccines, you're hearing what's coming out of the U.S., not just for immunocompromised people now, but for almost everybody. They're likely to recommend that everybody get a booster shot after about 8 months of being fully vaccinated. What's your view on this? And does this add fuel to the fire that these vaccines are challenged and that we're likely to be in a influenza type scenario where every year you're going to have to get a shot? And should we be concerned about that?
Dwight, I think this is just evolving knowledge, evolving information. Let me say that I have gotten a total of 3 COVID-19 vaccine shots, 2 AstraZeneca and 1 Pfizer. And I would have done that on the basis of my perception of my personal risk as a COVID physician. I am in rooms with COVID patients every day. As a matter of fact, the last COVID patient I operated on was at 1 o'clock this morning. Wow. So it is more and more information about the immunologic response, fall off of the immunologic response. And so I think people should just expect that as we learn more and more about not only this virus, this disease, but the options that we have to treat it. There are 90 plus vaccines in the pipeline. And even though we talk about Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna now as if it is the only approach, a year from now, we may not be using any of them. I said may not be as better, safer, more effective COVID-19 vaccines get approved, get studied, and get used.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. All right. And for those who are like, I can't do this, what do you say to people who are feeling overwhelmed?
What I say is that, this is changing science, and we are watching the most aggressive rollout of a vaccination campaign in the history of mankind. You may find that there will be edible vaccines available 6 months, 8 months, 10 months from now, and your reticence to be vaccinated may go away. All I'm asking people to do is to listen to credible sources of information, even though things seem to change by the minute. Just as you heard in the newscast in between your last segment and now, at least the United States is heading to 3 shots, not just for some, but for all. And other countries are doing it as well. It is a matter of how do we stay ahead of this virus? Because this virus has wiped out 4+ million people. It has taken out the economy of the entire world. Certainly in the Bahamas, it is devastating the Bahamas and Bahamians even as we speak.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Dr. Sands, a question for you. The booster shots that America is now encouraging people to take, and I guess eventually those of us who are vaccinated will have to do the same. Is this in response to the different strains of this virus?
It is in response to the different strain, and it is in response to the measured antibody and cellular immune response measured in certain studies. So people, how am I going to be immune after I get COVID? How long will I be immune or protected after I get a Pfizer shot, which is an mRNA vaccine? How long after a adenovirus DNA vaccine like the Johnson & Johnson? So these studies come out, and it seems to suggest that at 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, you start to see a tail off of the response, and so maybe you should get a booster. Now, bear in mind that the first vaccine ever given in the world, COVID-19 vaccine in the Western world, was in December 2020. Think about that. That's, 8 months ago. And now we've given 4.7 billion shots around, studied the blood and the antibody response and the risk of hospitalization and the risk of death all over the world. And so all of this divergent information is being fed into a pot. Scientists are looking at it. They're making recommendations. And that recommendation doesn't keep up with the geopolitical reality, because a lot of these recommendations can only take place in wealthy countries where they have vaccine in order to allow people to get a 3rd shot. There are many countries, think about it, the Bahamas did not have the option of giving a different COVID-19 vaccination until yesterday. That is, the disparity is striking from wealthy country to a developing country. There's some countries like the United Arab Emirates, which is nearing 100% vaccination. And there are countries in the African continent where they have barely made 1%. So this discussion of booster shots, 3rd shots, is going to create a firestorm of discussions about the ethics of vaccination for COVID and whether or not the world is serious. Because if everyone is not safe, nobody is safe.
Wow.
And that is then going to result in a Kappa variant and an Epsilon variant and a this variant and the next variant as the COVID virus finds new hosts to infect and allows new mutations to develop.
All right, so let's talk about these options that we have now and how they differ from the AstraZeneca vaccine that we've had for all these months. You mentioned it already, mRNA versus DNA. And explain those differences and which ones fall into which categories.
Okay, let's say very briefly that the Moderna and the Pfizer are mRNA vaccines. So what happens is the scientists have learned that if you have a roadmap of the genetics for COVID, you can wrap that very simply in a particle of fat and inject it into the muscle of a person. That mRNA then goes into the cell of that muscle, and it is now translated like a photocopying machine. And it starts to make spike protein, and then the body identifies that spike protein and makes an immune response to it. That is different than an adenovirus vector DNA vaccine like AstraZeneca, where you take the DNA of a virus into which you will put the genetic information to make the spike protein of the COVID-19. That then gets into the body. That DNA cannot be replicated, but the body is able to read the signal to create spike protein, and that's how it happens. So, two totally different mechanisms. What I would say is that we now have evidence that all COVID-19 vaccines available in the Western world, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, let's say, are the ones of major concern. I'm not going to talk about Sputnik 5 or Sinopharm. I am xenophobic. It is because people are more focused on the ones I mentioned.
Right. And mRNA, this is new technology. This is
technology that has been created over years, particularly with the SARS-CoV-1 or MERS outbreaks, but it was never operationalized because after the technology came into use, we wiped out SARS and we wiped out MERS. At least we thought we did. Mm-hmm. So this was indeed the first time that an mRNA vaccine would have been brought to market for widespread use. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the results with the Pfizer and the Moderna, you talk about efficacy, and efficacy is an interesting. What is the improvement in the attack rate if you expose non-immunized persons and people immunized with the mRNA vaccines? They have efficacy rates of 94%, give or take. If you look at the comparable efficacy of the AstraZeneca, the Johnson & Johnson, it's about 74%. So people say, oh, obviously the mRNA vaccines are better. Well, it turns out that they have efficacy reducing infection. But when you look at where the rubber meets the road, if I get an AstraZeneca vaccine, a Johnson & Johnson vaccine, a Pfizer, Moderna, what happens to my risk of hospitalization or death? It turns out that they're comparable. They're virtually equivalent. So I like to say this is very much the question that people ought to ask. Should I buy a Honda, a Toyota, a Chevrolet? They are different benefits, but they will all get you where you want to go safely. And that really is the case with COVID-19 vaccines. The mRNA vaccines strengthen your antibody response disproportionately. The vector, or Johnson & Johnson or AstraZeneca, they strengthen your cellular immunity better. And so it turns out now that perhaps the best way of getting immunized is to mix an mRNA vaccine with a Johnson & Johnson or AstraZeneca. And, you know, it turns out that if you give the AstraZeneca first and you give the Pfizer second, that you get a stronger immune response than if you got 2 doses of AstraZeneca or 2 doses of Pfizer.
Wow. Yeah, we're hearing that. We've seen the studies, and they're all saying that. So would you recommend that to someone who has only received their first dose? Would you say that right now, or what would you say to that person who's wondering?
Yes, and this is why, yes, I would recommend that. I believe that Dr. Dal Regis signaled that very deliberately and strongly in her presentation on Sunday. And this is why it is going to be so helpful for people to get a competent, compassionate, capable healthcare provider to help walk them through these decisions. Because as the decisions get more complex for different people, the right solution may be one approach, and for others, different. Let me give you an example. Pregnant female, 22 years old, 23 years old, wants to know, should I get vaccinated? My answer would be the information that we have available and the recommendations of many international obstetrical societies, the answer is yes. But you may find that it is safer to go with an mRNA vaccine than a vector or Johnson & Johnson or AstraZeneca vaccine, because the risk of blood clots is certainly shown to be less with the mRNA vaccine. And now that we have the option, we can expand our indications. If you're a child less than 17, you should certainly get the mRNA vaccine, because the AstraZeneca is not approved for children under 18. And we could go on and on and on, and people say, well, what if I have this disease, and what if I have that disease? It can become very, very complicated out of all of your questions as quickly as you needed to answer it.
What do you say to people who are like skeptical about mixing, and that these are just preliminary tests, and studies are being done? This seems like you're taking too much of a chance.
Well, I understand. It is daunting to imagine that that what we thought we knew, the information that's come out to change it. But honestly, this is changing rapidly. And every week there may be a new recommendation. So medicine changes. In order to stay on the cutting edge, you're going to have to be willing to study, to listen, to read. And I don't want people to be afraid of change. COVID has required that we adapt and we be willing to move very quickly. It is a metaphor for life right now.
We know that the time that you're supposed to take the second dose of the Pfizer, if you took a first dose, is much shorter than the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine compared to the first. If you are going to mix, if you took an AstraZeneca, when should you take your Pfizer if you're going to mix? The same time you would take your second dose of AstraZeneca, or do you need to take that earlier?
If you look at the Lancet study that was published on what we call heterologous vaccination, so one AstraZeneca, one Pfizer, that showed that the people that got the AstraZeneca and Pfizer had a far better immune response than either two Pfizers or two AstraZenecas. The interval was 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. So even though the ordinary interval for Pfizer is 4 weeks, and the ordinary interval now is 8 to 12 weeks for AstraZeneca, if you're going to be mixing, there's a different interval. So again, it is very, very important that the general public knows that the local vaccination committee is studying all of this data, and they are applying scientific approaches. Now, because the science moves so quickly, don't be upset.
Yeah.
If the latest and greatest iteration of COVID-19 vaccination strategy is not yet approved in the Bahamas.
Okay.
And it's not going to be approved for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Dr. Sands, do you have a few minutes to stick around with us? I know you're very, very busy. Do you have a few minutes for the news? We'll be back with you in just a bit. Stay with us, please. Thank you.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And you're listening to the Guardian News Network Morning Report.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got residual moisture across the country that will maintain pockets of shower activity over portions of the Bahamas, while high pressure will progressively build across the area through tonight, supporting moderate to locally fresh winds. For all areas today, forecast calls for variably cloudy, very warm, and breezy to windy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft advisory in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be a major factor again today, triple-digit Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius, everybody being advised to limit outdoor activity and to hydrate today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a tight pressure gradient between building high pressure and tropical storm Grace in the Caribbean will support breezy conditions and pockets of active weather over portions of the southern Bahamas while Grace is moving westward. For Wednesday, tomorrow, look for mostly sunny conditions in the northwest Bahamas, but cloudy, humid, and breezy with isolated showers and the slight chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the southeast Bahamas. Thursday, variably cloudy and breezy with a few passing showers with the chance of an offshore thunderstorm. In the tropics, we've got Fred, 15 miles southwest of Columbus, Georgia. We've got Grace, now a tropical storm, 165 miles east of Montego Bay, Jamaica. And Henri, that system we told you about near Bermuda, now tropical storm Henri, about 135 miles southeast of Bermuda. Things are heating up there, but none of those going to directly impact us at all. So that's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you? It comes first for us. Another check of your traffic for this morning brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Just a reminder about Claridge Road, the work going on there. You might want to avoid the area if you can. In your real-time traffic right now, heavy traffic on Smile Butler Highway. Just as you approach Harold Pond, you'll be seeing that. And that's all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Gladstone Road also busy for you this morning. Northbound lanes to JFK Drive. Elsewhere, Soldier Road's a hot spot. Soldier Road and Old Trail Road. We've got NCA in session, and it's been busy there since they reopened yesterday. So keep that in mind if you are there. Traffic in multiple directions. And we're seeing some building traffic on Blue Hill Road near Carmichael Road at that junction there. Eastern Road also busy this morning, interestingly. That's west of Fox Hill Road, heading up to Johnson Road. That's that portion there you're going to be seeing some issues. And Fox Hill Road northbound to Prince Charles Drive, seeing some building traffic there. And we've got some portions of Shirley Street as well near Princess Margaret Hospital. So keep that in mind. Those are your hot spots. It's a real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We've got Dr. Dwayne Sands with us only for a few more minutes. Thank you so much for sticking around with us, Dr. Sands. We're talking about the vaccines and what to know about the various ones that are now available in the country. And as health officials have said, we've got it enough now for anybody who wants one, it seems. Now, you mentioned that the early studies are showing that AstraZeneca followed by Pfizer might be the most effective combination of all. What about if you did it the other way, Pfizer and then AstraZeneca? What happens?
Well, I think we can only refer to the studies that certainly the best results were found with the first described arrangement of injections. I think that we're going to have to do these studies so that people know, how much you gain, how much you lose if you switch the injections around. But again, we are in a pregnant moment. We are learning stuff, and the one thing that I think we always have to be able to tell people is we don't know the answers to some of these questions.
Yeah.
I wish we did. I wish we knew all of the answers. And it is very important not to make the answers up. Because when you start making up stuff, then you mislead people. So I would much prefer to tell you that, look, this is what we know. We think that the other way may be comparable, but we don't know that for sure. I would encourage people to proceed on the basis of the evidence that's out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. So somebody's asking here, wow, thank you, Dr. Sands. I was about to cancel my AstraZeneca appointment in favor of 2 consecutive Pfizers, but can you please clarify, you said this earlier, about the cellular response versus the immunological response. What exactly is the difference between those two there?
So imagine that you present a foreign protein to the body, and the way the body responds, that spike protein, when it goes into the system, into your body, there are a host of differences. You have what we call antigen presenting cells. You have T helper cells. You have T suppressor cells. You have cytotoxic T cells. You have macrophages, etc. The antibody or B cells, they basically stand next to that spike protein, and they put a whole bunch of chemical warfare on the spike protein to kill it. The cells, the T cells and the cytotoxic, the macrophages, they kind of wrap themselves around the spike protein and eat it up. So when you look at an immune response, it is a very complex army, as it were. There was a Bermudan physician or surgeon, plastic surgeon, that gave an excellent description of specialized skills. The Pfizer will make your antibody response better. The vector or AstraZeneca vaccine makes your cellular response better. You put them together, and now you have the best of both worlds.
Wow. Okay. All right. This question here, someone's asking, how long after a COVID infection should you take a vaccine? Does it vary? Does it depending on the vaccine?
I would answer it this way. As soon as you feel well enough, and that doesn't mean feeling normal. That could be as quickly as a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks after you are recovered. Get the all clear so that you don't infect the people giving the vaccines or the people at the vaccination centers. But once you get the all clear and you feel well enough to go back to work or go back to get vaccinated. It's interesting because at least with the AstraZeneca vaccine, those people that have had a COVID infection, on their first shot, they end up having an antibody response 6 times the level of people who are vaccinated and had not had COVID. And then by the time you get the second shot, now your immunity is almost, and these are my words, through the roof. So for those people who say, well, I had natural immunity, isn't that going to be enough? It turns out that a very effective strategy, particularly since you can get COVID again with a different variant, a very effective strategy, even after an infection, is to be vaccinated. And if you want to, at least as of the 17th of August, 2021, I would use sequential vaccination with 1 AstraZeneca, 1 Pfizer.
Yeah. So what do you think you will get with a double dose of AstraZeneca and 1 Pfizer? And are you a part of a study, or should you be a part of a test study?
Let me put it to you this way, Dwight. Again, like so many other people, and I am not an exception, there are many people, many healthcare workers that do this every day. I was with some of them last night. We're constantly pushing the envelope in terms of being exposed and hoping that you don't get knocked down. And so while I am not a part of a formal study, I am reviewing the literature to see if there's consistency with the approach that was taken. And I based my decision on 2 Lancet studies, large studies, one of which I've been quoting this morning, and the second one, which was a follow-up that just came out this week. So by next week, there may be a different recommendation, and we'll follow it. This thing is changing rapidly, and I want to congratulate you for attempting to bring some sanity to the discussion. People have concerns, people are afraid, people are worried, they're confused, and every single time we take a little bit of time to explain exactly why and what it helps people to make their decisions.
Yeah. So do we know whether Johnson & Johnson, followed by Pfizer, will have, since Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca are so similar, is that likely to have the same response or have...
Well, let me preface my statement by saying we don't have that evidence yet, but I think it is not unreasonable to believe that we may see a similar response. So I would think, and again now, this is going on opinion, this is my considered opinion, that if you're going to look at mixing COVID-19 vaccines, then going to a different class. So if you get an mRNA vaccine and you want to mix it, then mix it with a adenovirus vector DNA vaccine like AstraZeneca or J&J. So if you've had the Johnson & Johnson, then get a Pfizer. And the expectation would be that there may be similar. What's fascinating is that in looking at the response to certain variants, not all vaccines are equivalent. So right now, the front runner for response to the Delta variant seems to be the Moderna. Now, Moderna is a bit player relative to AstraZeneca and Pfizer. So, it's, I guess the take-home message, Dwight, is that any complete vaccination strategy is pretty doggone good. What you're trying to do now, or what we're trying to do now, is to get a little bit of incremental benefit, for those people who either need it or want it.
Yeah. Wow.
Dr. Sands, before we let you go, just a quick question. The Johnson & Johnson, correct?
That is correct.
So if you took another shot along with that, I guess you could consider that a booster?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and just to reiterate, you said it earlier. I'm going to say it, and this applies to me as well. I'm due for my second. I did my first AstraZeneca, and my second is due in a couple of weeks. But you would, Dr. Dwayne Sands, recommend that I take Pfizer for that second shot?
For your second shot, I would, and I believe that the Bahamas will not only support that approach, but will make it possible and then ensure that you get an internationally accepted certification that you are fully vaccinated. And you're talking to somebody that's gotten both the AstraZeneca and the Pfizer.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. What about, Dr. Sands, what about if you did Pfizer the same?
Yeah, I don't know that is going to significantly improve your immune response, either antibody or cellular immunity, and I would have to wait for the study results. As a principle, I don't think that is going to be as good as 2 different types of COVID vaccines.
All right, and you would recommend the AstraZeneca and Pfizer for pregnant women as well, people on birth control, across the board.
Now you added, right? You just curveball.
That's a whole other show, eh?
So,
let's hear that.
For pregnant women, I think the recommendation would be mRNA vaccines or Pfizer. Now that we have more than enough Pfizer vaccines, if you're a pregnant woman or you're a pregnant young woman, I would say Pfizer would be the better bet up until you're about age 50, at which point, flip a coin.
Because of the blood clot risk there.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. Clearly, we have to have you back at some point to discuss more of this, but thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. As always, we really appreciate always talking with you, Dr. Dwayne Sands. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more on vaccines, but this time from the insurance industry, what they are saying about the rumors that are flying around about coverage, whether you get a vaccine or not. We're going to get into all of that and sort through what is fact and what is fiction. That's coming up after the break. You definitely don't want to miss that. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I asked her how she's feeling, and she was feeling fine.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With stores in Palmdale, West Bay, and Old Fort Bay, and free delivery to businesses, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education, no hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
Pediasure, the #1 brand recommended by pediatricians, now has 33% less sugar compared to previous formula and provides 25 vitamins and minerals and 7 grams of protein kids need for a healthy growth. It's a convenient meal or snack with a delicious kids-approved taste they'll love. Pediasure, nutrition to help kids grow. Ask your pediatrician about Pediasure today.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited overseas
for just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Tuesday morning. And the Bahamas Insurance Association has issued a statement regarding some erroneous allegations being circulated on social media about life insurance and whether if you have COVID, you won't be covered, or if there are other issues. A lot of that going around, and they are speaking out about it. And joining us, a member of the Bahamas Insurance Association from BAF Insurance. He's the managing director and group COO, Sandy Morley. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, so this was going around like wildfire over the weekend. All these rumors about it, lots of people spreading some really wacky stuff, actually. But let's talk about it. This is false. What people are saying. Your life insurance. People were suggesting that life insurance will not cover an insured person who may pass away as a result of COVID-19 vaccination. Let's talk about it. What do you make of these rumors, and what is true and what?
Well, let me start by echoing the release from the association yesterday. The rumors are adamantly false. There is no basis for it, first and foremost. Secondly, and if you would go back to the press conference on Sunday, it was clear that there have been no COVID, no death of any individual who's been vaccinated. So there have been no experiences in regards to this. So again, I mean, what I take from it is baseless. It's absolutely false. The Insurance Association and the insurance community at large fully supports vaccine efforts.
Yeah. What are your patients, your customers say, rather? What are they saying, clients saying about this? Have they come forward with concerns, though? What is the mood out there?
Well, I think naturally when you have a proliferation of misinformation, you get a lot of client queries. So our agents' call lines are getting queries. They're asking the same question. They're asking us to confirm whether it's accurate or not. And I think the message and the response is consistent with what we've been saying all along. But let me just take a step back, Dwight. This is not unique just to the Bahamas. There was similar chatter in the United States regarding whether or not the vaccine would exempt one from insurance cover early in the year. And so I think it's just that, we're cycling through this. If you would recall, we also went through this in March, where there was similar sentiments being said, and we just continue to respond to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm curious about this. Is it likely that we will get to a situation if you are not vaccinated, that will impact your insurance coverage?
I would venture to say not. Our insurance policies are guided by contracts. In a lot of instances, these are long-standing contracts, okay? So I have clients who would have policies that date back 40, 50 years. I can't just unilaterally vary the terms of those contracts. So the answer is no, I don't see that happening. As it stands now, vaccines are not mandatory. But, to answer the question, I really don't see a scenario like that coming to bear, particularly in view of the fact that we have long-standing contracts with these individuals.
Mm-hmm. Sandy, do you think that maybe this rumor kind of had the way it took that snowball effect, it had that kind of traction because of the nature of the vaccine for like emergency use only? And so maybe people made certain assumptions, unfounded they may be, but kind of connected that to say, oh, well, you're taking something that's for emergency use only, so then it may impact your insurance policy.
Laverne, that could be the reasoning. I would say that we struggle to find the logics and where it all started. But I mean, and this is why the association sees it fit to respond accordingly. I think there are natural concerns. There are persons who invested in their insurances, some for a number of years. We are faced with a global epidemic, and persons have life-changing decisions to make, life-altering decisions to make in some instances in regard to the vaccine. And if there are concerns, if there is information out there that could cause a doubt in their minds, I think our responsibility as an association, though, is to give the Bahamian people and our clients at large the facts. I mean, the facts are there is no policy, no insurance coverage that will be impacted because one has taken the vaccine.
Is this impacting new clients? People, have there been any changes in the way that policies are drawn now that we are dealing with something totally different than we've seen in so many years in the world? How has that impacted that side of the business?
It has had minimal impact. Of course, our line of questioning since COVID on new applications continue to change, as you would imagine. Initially, there is a COVID questionnaire early in the pandemic new applicants had to complete. Now there are, and most of the companies are rolling this out as we speak, additional questions in regards to have you been vaccinated? Are you experiencing any symptoms? And the standard questions, but neither of which will exempt one from cover, or neither of which disqualifies anyone from cover. But they are the standard health questions. Of course, as you would imagine, if an individual has just been vaccinated and are experiencing symptoms, we are keen toward understanding the nature of them and might require follow-up questions. But that in itself does not disqualify one for insurance and for cover.
Getting a question here on our text line asking if does it make a difference whether you get your vaccine in the Bahamas or in another country like the USA?
Yeah, the answer is no. I think Caroline indicated there are a number of vaccines out there. In the Bahamas, I think we have now AstraZeneca and Pfizer. Johnson & Johnson is on the way, but there's also the Moderna vaccine. Once the vaccine has been approved by an internationally recognized body being one of those bodies that's recognized by the Ministry of Health, then we are satisfied and we accept those. So if you go to the U.S. and you get and have the vaccination done, or whether you have it done in the Bahamas, it does not really make a difference in regards to how to claim or how it's being treated.
Oh my, this question here. Okay, I don't think that's related to our topic here. So what would you say to customers out there who are still feeling uneasy? What can you say to them to just calm them at this time?
Yeah, I think the response is a simple one. Let's trust reliable sources for information. If in doubt, contact your service provider. My colleagues in the industry, they're all committed to making certain that clients are given clear and accurate information. And so, if in doubt, I think you contact your service provider. But more importantly, let's look to reliable source for information, right? A WhatsApp post can't be deemed to be reliable, or one that you consider gospel. And I even go further and I said, I ask people a lot of times, just consider the logic of what it is that you're hearing. Okay, our industry, Dwight, is driven largely by science and medicine. Okay, we are in the risk-based business. Okay, as an insurer, mortality and minimum instances of severe illnesses are an insurer's dream. So naturally, if the science is saying that the vaccine will minimize the likelihood of death or severe illness, it would lead for one to think that as an insurer, and as outlined in the press release yesterday, the industry fully supports vaccination. And while vaccination is a personal choice, and we ask everybody to make that choice, we encourage our clients to get vaccinated. So it's the complete opposite of what it is that the industry is seeing, or is looking for and hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. So information, I hope people are listening. As you said, get your news from credible sources and go to the source itself. Don't just spread something around. Go to your insurance agents and ask them if there's any truth to this. And we hope people are listening. seems that's the hardest message to get out there. But thank you so much, and thank you to the Bahamas Insurance Association for putting out that message and addressing it here this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Laverne, and do have a good day.
Okay. We're going to take a break and then be back. This is Morning Blend on a Tuesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education, no hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. Coming up in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about the new procurement processes that go into effect in just a few days. That's a hot topic as well. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But we've been talking about a lot of different things on the show this morning. It's been quite a morning. And, Laverne, wow. Mixing vaccines, a lot of reaction to this. A lot of people messaging about it. A little on the fence about it. Some saying they're going to not take their chance on that one quite as yet.
Well, it's like everything else, like the vaccine, the decision to get vaccinated or not is a personal choice. But, for people out there who are concerned, hopefully, what Dr. Sand said helped to reassure them that it's okay if they got AstraZeneca and then now they get the second shot of Pfizer. Some people feel uncomfortable, so,
Yeah, Yeah. And we want to say this as well. I'm going to read the whole statement because in case you missed it entirely. But the Bahamas Insurance Association, which we were just talking about with Sandy Morley from BAF, that statement said that the Bahamas Insurance Association has noted an erroneous statement circulating on social media advising that life insurance will not cover you if you are vaccinated or die from complications as a result of the COVID-19 vaccination. Please be advised this statement is absolutely false. In the extremely unlikely event of someone by local authorities subject to the usual requirements, the life insurance policy will respond as intended. The association notes the effectiveness of the vaccine with regard to preventing serious illness and death and encourages all Bahamians to seriously consider getting one of the approved vaccines currently available in the Bahamas. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens on social media, how people... And clearly there are people with
like
agendas.
Everything else.
Is it?
Right.
I wonder. Clearly,
it is because, that's what people do, mischief makers
Yes.
or misunderstand. They just take pieces of information or they have conversations with each other and reason things. We'll just use that as a loose term. And they come up with stuff and then it just goes like wildfire.
Yeah. And you're right, mischief makers, that's probably the best way to put it, because honestly, you have no information. You just go and post this stuff and you speak with such certainty. And then people are just following it and tweeting it and liking it. And yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah, it's not even with, because people, you can't. But that people would just take it, they would accept it with no kind of proof. You ask, well, where did you hear this from? Well, did the insurance say anything? No. And they buy into it.
Yep. Forward it to everyone they've not even people they know, just everyone in the world.
Just forward it.
Yeah. Just, oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So, and we've seen this explode, this type of stuff explode over the past 18 months. It's really gotten out of control. But I'm putting a lot of people in some unnecessarily fearful situations. And it's very, very, very sad and scary. But hey, all right, so we're going to take a break and be back with more. Laverne, I think you say you have to leave us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, my. All right. Well, we're going to talk again on Thursday.
Absolutely.
All right, talk to you then. I'll be back in a few minutes, folks. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. #1 fastener store, Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is the Guardian News Network update on the hour. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. The Minister of Health's personal assistant and driver have now returned the honorariums they received for their work during the pandemic. Minister Wenward Wells announced yesterday that he asked them to and that they complied. That as frustration builds among some healthcare workers who claim they were left off the list for payments. Allegedly in protest, they have remained off the job for the last 5 days, calling in sick and complicating certain operations at government hospitals. Nothing to do with deciding who would be paid, and that he has forwarded the list of names approved for payments to Cabinet for review. Well, also under fire, Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd is now clearing up confusion caused by a comment he made yesterday about mandatory vaccinations for children entering school this fall semester. Some upset parents thought he was referring to mandatory COVID vaccinations, but he later posted to Facebook that he was speaking about the regular vaccinations which children in grade 1 and pre-K must have before entering school, not COVID vaccinations, which remain optional for children ages 12 to 17 and only with permission from their parents or guardians. Well, public school teachers are preparing for a possible standoff over COVID protocols when schools resume later this month. Teachers Union President Belinda Wilson has told her members not to enter classrooms which lack safety protocols until union shop stewards report back on whether those schools meet their agreed-upon checklist of precautions. And Governor General Sir C.A. Smith has tested positive for COVID-19, but his office says he is not showing symptoms and is in quarantine. We're told he was tested last Friday as a precaution after coming into contact with a COVID-positive person. That's what's making headlines at this hour. Stay with us. AP Update is next.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. The UN is calling on the Taliban in Afghanistan to keep its promises. The Taliban pledging amnesty to those who worked for the fallen Afghan government and inclusiveness for women. The Taliban also says it will allow girls to remain in school. Retired Army General H.R. McMaster, who served as National Security Advisor during the Trump administration, says the U.S. and people.
Telling them that we're going to withdraw, making concession after concession with the Taliban, not even allowing the Afghan government to participate in what became our capitulation agreement with the Taliban.
He was on the Today Show. Looks like experts will recommend COVID booster shots. The AP's Jackie Quinn.
The White House says even though the U.S. is providing millions of doses to other countries, there is enough supply to provide all Americans of all ages with booster shots if they're recommended.
The AP's Jackie Quinn. I'm Rita Foley.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. And you, once again, it's me, Dwight Strachan. This morning, we are going to be talking about the new procurement processes that go into effect on September 1st. Here to tell us all about this, we are very pleased to welcome to the show the Undersecretary with the Department of Inland Revenue, Gaynell Roll. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Blend Business.
Good morning. It is such a pleasure to be with you this morning. Good morning, Bahamas. Good morning to our business community.
I can't believe this is the first time you've been on. This is, well, it's about time. It's good to have you.
It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about that time.
All right, so we have a lot to talk about this morning. So I'm sure you don't have to. I'm sure people know how this works. But give us an outline of how things have been going as it relates to procurement. And then we'll get into how things are going to be different.
Okay, well, prior, persons with the ministries would request a service. They would say that whatever goods or services or works that they need, you would bids or quotes from businesses. It was a selective few, knowing the amount of businesses and the nature of businesses that were involved, and we would go by procuring the service that way. Government has a large expenditure item where businesses throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas can be able to participate in. And so the government, in its infinite wisdom, in keeping with transparency and accountability, decide that for us to know all of the vendors in the Bahamas that wish to offer government its goods and its services or its work, let's have an e-procurement system. Let's have a registry where businesses will be able to register themselves, letting us know the nature of business that they have, the goods and services that they can provide. And once there is a need within the government agencies, what we do is we put that on an e-portal, an online system. As long as you are registered and that nature of business is yours, you would get a notification that the government is seeking to source this service, and you would be invited either to provide a bid or to be able to give quotations. And it depends on the various levels of threshold. Trying to increase our accountability, our transparency, and our involvement of the business community in procuring goods and services within the government.
Mm-hmm. All right, tell us more about that process and how complex is it, how lengthy it is, and
it's not complex at all.
Okay.
It starts with you registering. We have an online site that you can register. Persons would normally say, well, I don't have a computer, I'm not computer savvy, and I quickly say you have a cell phone. And a cell phone that allows you to just log in, type into your browser www.suppliers.gov.bs. The process is very user-friendly, and it requires you to register yourself as a vendor. Once you do that, as long as there is a demand for your goods, your services, we send you a notification. So the first step and the most important step, as comes September 1st, is that you must register. So we encourage all businesses across the length and breadth of the Bahamas, including our family islands, to go online, www.suppliers.gov.bs, and register your business. If you want to take part in the process, in the procurement process for government, you must be registered. You must be a registered vendor. Very simple process. Takes you about 5 minutes the most to register. Mm-hmm. I have online with me one of our young upcoming professionals in procurement within the government, Mr. Breon Scott. He also will be able to assist persons in walking through that process. So if you log online and you still feel as if I need additional assistance, I need some help, I'm still not computer savvy, I still feel some limitations, you can reach out to him, Breon Scott, at bahamas.gov.bs, or I think Breon has a desk number that you will also be able to reach out to. Breon, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Bahamas, and good morning, all.
Okay, good morning.
You can reach out to me myself by 702-1581 or one of our e-procurement supply registry help desk assistants, 357-8602, 376-5747, or 357-3690.
All right, and Breon, how do you spell your first name?
Breon.
Okay.
Breon Scott.
All right. So, for some who might not be familiar with this whole process, who would be considered? What type of companies are considered to be part of this procurement? What are we dealing with here? I'm sure this is a wide range of
all
industries.
Businesses,
yeah.
All businesses. There are no exclusion. All businesses. If you offer goods and services, the government is wide in its needs. So all businesses, we invite you to register on our supplier.gov.bs portal.
Far, especially since you announced this, and it's been in the works for a while now, but especially after the press conference last week, what's the response been?
Breon?
Yes, well, at this time, the response has been very great. We have a lot of persons still signing up to become suppliers, and we have calls every day about how people can be prepared as of September 1st. So right now with our registration process, I've had a few calls daily, going through the suppliers registry, and we're getting ready. I'm going to let everybody know to tune out exactly on Wednesday. We have a press conference via Facebook, the Ministry of Finance page, where we will go more into depth to how the Public Procurement Act will impact external stakeholders.
Yeah. I know that you've been touting this as a way of reducing the bottlenecks. Explain that to us and how that's going to reduce all of that from happening.
Okay, so there has been a number of persons that says, well, I really don't know. I don't know how to source government services. I have the service available. How do I get through that? Well, this eliminates all of that. No one has to contact you. No one has to contact you, or you do not have to know someone in a department or someone else to say there is a good of services. So the bottleneck, the first thing that we have reduced is that it's available to all. Once you register, and there is a request for service, because all government agencies, as of September 1st, must use the portal. So once there's a notification put out for a good or services, that automatically goes to you for your nature of businesses. Does that the online process is the only contact you need. We contact you via that portal for the entire process. To give the notification, to advise that we have received your bid, to advise if you were successful. That whole process is handled right by that portal. There's no one that has to contact you. You don't have to call anyone. It's transparent. You will see the entire process. You will know those persons that would have put in bid. You would know the successful persons. All of that will be published for you.
Mm-hmm. So we're getting an interesting text here. Does this mean this is the end of the rumored no bid contract? Is that a thing of the past, or what are we really dealing with here?
Right. So you have to bid. All of services have to bid. Now we know that there are some services where there is one or two suppliers. No one else really would supply. So obviously, if there's one supplier that is registered in the system, that is known of, that supplier will definitely get the bid, will get the work. Or if there is a special need and there's one supplier that supply that. But all across the board, straight across the board, there is going to be the bidding process for works, goods, and services.
All right, so how's this going to work across the various, you said it before, government's tentacles are wide. The various departments and agencies, will they all have to go through a central area for this, or will they have their own units? Okay,
so each government agency has a procurement unit, has an accounting section and a procurement unit, and they're now putting in place a procurement committee for the bids to be reviewed. So, for example, they put out for goods and services, they receive a number of bids within that agency. The review will take place, and it's based on the various different thresholds. I'm going to allow Breon to explain the different thresholds and what are the requirements very briefly, but we want to invite persons to attend, like Breon would have mentioned earlier, on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we have an open wide Facebook on Facebook where we reach out to our external stakeholders and we walk you through the process. And we tell you what is changing and what is critical for you to do as a business owner. But for now, I'm going to let him speak very briefly to those thresholds and what happens within each of those thresholds. All of the thresholds do not require bidding. Some of them require where we can just get 3 quotes. Breon, can you speak to that for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so now under this new Public Procurement Act, we established about 4 different new thresholds, 0 to 50,000, which will be awarded by the procuring entity, which will be the government agency. And the person who will be responsible for any signing or awarding of the contract will be the permanent secretary or the head of any entity or department. And in excess of 50,000, the 250 committee, which is established procurement unit, and it's now subject to the approval of the minister responsible for that procuring entity. Anything in excess of $250,000 to $1.2 million now is awarded by the minister responsible for that entity and is subject to recommendations by our new public procurement board. Anything in excess of $1.2 million is now awarded by cabinet and is subject to the recommendations of the public procurement board.
Okay, all right. And September 1st, is that realistic? Is that doable? You feel confident that this, because it sounds like a change in culture as well, that this can be achieved and implemented by then?
September 1st. September 1st. The only way you're going to know the success of something is to get it started. And September 1st is our start date, and we're going to affect change as of September 1st.
Yeah. Wow. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a lot more to talk to you about, more on this, the procurement process, and more going on at the Department of Inland Revenue. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Let's take that break and stay with us.
Wait, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, but just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritsy.
We need to start joking with everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Wait, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet his boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk, you know.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you. And your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Law Adjusters.
Final traffic watch going on today, and yes, it's still another low traffic turn off for the morning commute that we see. Slight upturn in some areas, while the ride is a mild ride with no major slows going on or delays happening. Getting around the roundabout there at Saunders Beach on West Bay Street has been a bit busy, with traffic also coming in from New Providence Avenue on the west side. Over on the east side of New Providence, the traffic is consistent. That's leaving the Eastern Road. When we look around the island, slow ups and delays mainly only around stop signs and intersections, but we don't have any lengthy traffic lines, with the exceptions, of course, of the traffic that's lined up exiting both Gladstone Road and Samalabala Highway. Now, we've still got hefty lines of traffic backed up there, but I do expect those to dissipate in short order, as they are not getting any longer, mind you. Now it seems those who are leaving by those routes are already there, so they will be getting out in fine order shortly. For the After 9 crew happening out here now, nothing to be concerned about at this point during the morning commute. It's pretty much over. Now what we're waiting to see is what the remainder of the day turns out to be like. This NASA Traffic Report is service with Dr. Danny Johnson and Associates at Foot and Ankle International, who's offering the simplest and safest treatment for foot injuries, ingrown toenails, corns, heel pain, and more. Visit Foot and Ankle International for relief. They're located Dean's Lane atop the hill at Fort Charlotte. Call them at 302-5402. That's 302-5402 for more info. With your Ride Sky look at traffic in real time, I'm V.A. Tolan.
Michael was in a House Adjusters, managed his claim, and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Boy, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school.
He could do Junior in.
For what?
Boy, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
I mean cool, you know.
Boy, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, how many boys coming for me next?
Alright, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So what are the boy?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Croc Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. BTC is expanding its fiber to home to Abaco, representing a massive overhaul of the island's network. Fiber installations are occurring in Central Pines, with network overhauls occurring in Dundastown, Murphytown, and Marsh Harbor. The company issuing a statement noting that it will also extend its reach into the Abaco Keys. BTC CEO Andre Foster calling the fiber expansion a big moment for an island still putting the pieces back together after Hurricane Dorian wreaked havoc 2 years ago. Arawak X is preparing to list its first companies available to investors, one of those companies being a well-known international restaurant franchise with rights in the Caribbean. Due to Securities Commission rules governing Arawak X's crowdfunding platform, the names of the companies cannot be revealed until August 23rd, when Bahamians will be able to invest. The other company, according to a statement, is an innovative high-tech company with a futuristic platform for the tourist industry. Arawak X spokesman and Chief Technology Officer Darcy Ramming Jr., saying in the statement that both companies have Bahamian founders and international advisory boards. You can read more about it in today's Guardian business section at Arawak X, expected to be our guest here on Morning Blend Business tomorrow. Overseas, Walmart is raising its sales outlook for the year as Americans return to shopping for back-to-school clothes and travel goods during the fiscal second quarter. Still, concerns are mounting over spending in the months ahead as the Delta variant of COVID-19 surges across the U.S. and mask mandates are reinstated. Walmart reporting Tuesday earnings of $4.27 billion, reporting today $1.52 per share during the three-month period ending July 31st. That is a nickel better per share than Walmart had expected, according to a survey by Fact Sheet. Net profit last year was $6.47 billion, or $1.77 adjusted per share. And as temperatures recently reached triple digits in California, farmers are inspecting their almonds and very concerned about the deepening drought there, how it's threatening one of the state's most profitable crops. An historic drought across the U.S. West is taking a heavy toll on California's $6 billion almond industry, which produces roughly 80% of the world's almonds. More growers are expected to abandon their orchards as water becomes scarce and expensive. It's a sharp reversal for the almonds' relentless expansion in California's agricultural Central Valley, whose dry Mediterranean climate and reliable irrigation system made it the perfect location to grow the increasingly popular nut. Almond orchards are thirsty, permanent crops that need water year-round, clashing with the worsening drought, and it's tied to climate change. Scientists say climate change has made the American West much warmer and drier in the past 30 years and will keep making weather more extreme. And global stock markets sinking further today amid turmoil in Afghanistan and unease about China's economic outlook after weak July activity. Traders got some positive sentiment from Wall Street, but we're paying close attention to the situation in Afghanistan. Landlocked Afghanistan's economy is tiny, but other governments were caught off guard by the speed of the collapse of the U.S. allied leadership. Thousands of people tried to flee the country after the Taliban seized the capital of Kabul. Markets are also digesting news that Chinese factory output, consumer spending, and investment grew more slowly in July than expected. The government blamed flooding in central China and controls on travel and business to fight outbreaks of the coronavirus's Delta variant. That depressed oil prices as traders adjusted forecasts of Chinese demand. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX. From Monday, market movers, Commonwealth Bank Limited moving 330,000 shares, closing up 13 cents to 287. Focol went to $3.99. Famguard moving 1,625, unchanged at $10.08. CIBC First Caribbean Bank moving 1,190, up 20 cents to $10. AML Foods Limited moving 1,800, down 1 cent to 648. Cable Bahamas moving 2,000, unchanged at 324. Consolidated Water down 2 cents, closing at 247. Emira Incorporated down 2 cents, closing at 11.79. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,009.42, up 28.00. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. We're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're talking with Gaynell Roll and Breon Scott with the Department of Inland Revenue, talking about the procurement process and the changes that are coming September 1st. We've got some skeptics, though, listening to the program on our text line, especially. People are, I'm not sure why, but what do you say to the skeptics? And especially after we saw last week with the Auditor General's report revealing that the government didn't disclose the names of beneficial owners of companies receiving payments for goods during the pandemic. All these things happening. What do you say to people who are like, we can't change our spots on this? What do you say to that? Yep, did we lose? Yeah, oh, your mic is muted, I'm told. Gaynell, Roll. Unmute your mic for us. Nope. Okay, all right. I think we lost them. We're going to have to reconnect with them. Yeah, let's do that. And we're going to take a quick break while we do that and get them back on with us. This is Morning Blend Business. Hey, the technology still, yeah, that's it. We'll be back. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
Boy, you know what going down tomorrow?
No, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Boy, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Boy, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did it work?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then if you get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Hello, I am Brenda Smith, Senior Manager of Training and Development and Coordinator of the Vaccination Program held at the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center. For many persons, contemplating taking the vaccine can be daunting. But by getting the facts, you are placed in a better position to make an informed decision. I am happy to say that I am fully vaccinated. It was a decision I made after weighing the benefits of taking the vaccine versus the risk of not taking it. By getting vaccinated for COVID-19, I am not only protecting those I encounter, but also protecting myself from becoming exposed. I can't tell you how important that is for persons like me who have chronic health conditions like diabetes and hypertension. The trainer in me encourages you to learn the facts about the COVID-19 vaccine and compare the advantages and disadvantages. Remember, the greater numbers vaccinated, the greater opportunity for us to return to life as usual.
This message has been brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority and the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
All right, and we are back here with Morning Blend Business. We've reconnected with Gaynell Roll. And, so I was saying, you only have you for a few more minutes. We got to go. But we've got some skeptics who think that we can't change our spots here, that this is, especially in light of what we heard from the Auditor General last week, that this is the way we are. What do you say to people like that who don't believe that this is going to change anything, that this is just what it takes to do business here? What do you say to skeptics like that?
I want to say to them, watch us by our performance as of September 1st.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And again, you've got a special event tomorrow. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So you can log on to our website, the Ministry of Finance, and be able to register for an upcoming webinar that we have, Boosting Your Business, Government Reform Working Just for You. At the Ministry of Finance. And so the Ministry of Finance invites the general public and business community to attend a Boosting Your Business webinar series to learn more about fiscal reforms in the Bahamas and tax available to help all businesses grow. And this is going to be held tomorrow and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So we encourage persons to register to attend. It's a Zoom conference webinar that we're going to have. 2.5 hours that we're going to dedicate to the business community and those interested in learning more about our fiscal reform and tax concessions that is being offered by the government. So we encourage all businesses to attend. We encourage all skeptics to attend to learn more and to register. To be able to understand what is happening and truly participate is to be registered. An educated consumer is a consumer that can sit down and give all the good opinions and help the government to advance its cause. And so we're going to help to educate you, but to be able to do that, you must register to be a part of the system. Register today so you won't be left out.
Excellent stuff. And you've got back to school, VAT holiday that started.
We got back to school, that holiday. We have a lot of initiatives that we're continuing for businesses. We have a number of concessions for businesses to help them grow, to help employees stay employed, to continue to mobilize the Bahamian economy, to incentivize businesses. So we're going to discuss this and more on tomorrow and Thursday, starting at 9 a.m. And we're going to conclude at 12:30. We invite you to be a part of an exciting webinar where you can pose all of your questions to us and be informed. Be an informed, educated consumer.
Okay. All right. Gaynell Roll, thank you so much. Appreciate the time this morning. Appreciate you talking with us.
It was certainly a pleasure.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right, folks. So you can tell us what you think. Give us a call. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, and text us 422-4796. Want to hear from you about what we've been talking about this morning. Get your views on all that. Again, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. I'm going to read some of these messages here. Some of these from the skeptics that we talked about before. Oh, boy. All right. So this one says here, no, that's about COVID there. So they advertise for light bulb, toothpicks, etc., but not for the big contracts, especially not the no-bid contracts. Here's one from the other day, and they give a whole long list there, and then say it seems to be mostly a farce. Well, as you heard what she said there, you see how it changes come September 1st. Another one here. The government just decides now to try to be transparent on the 1st of September 2021 after almost 5 years of governance. The reports are there for everyone to see. Sad bunch, this government. Well, again, they say they're going to be different. This thing's going to be different, and that's why everybody needs to attend that webinar and see how things are going to change and register now for what we've been talking about for a long time. Right? You've got to take some steps somewhere to get to the point where we're going to be doing things differently from where we were before. And we have to all be on the same page, all be committed to doing it. All right? Everybody. And you got to let go of the past sometimes and move on. All right? All right. So we're going to take our final break. When we come back, more on this and more of what you have to say. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259 numbers to call in when we get back. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
And we've got your final look at weather for this morning. Residual moisture across the Bahamas will maintain pockets of shower activity over portions of the islands. Meanwhile, high pressure progressively will build across the country through tonight, supporting moderate to locally fresh winds. Boaters should be alert for the slight risk of waterspout activity. Beachgoers should exercise caution along eastern shorelines due to the risk of rip currents. And the public's being advised to remain hydrated and limit direct and prolonged sun exposure as heat indices will soar into the triple digits. For all areas, variably cloudy today with widely scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Through tonight, smoke after advisory in effect for the central and southeastern Bahamas. Temperature-wise right now, 86 degrees and the partly cloudy skies in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. But the heat index will be a major factor today, getting up to 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. And as a result, everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor sun exposure, prolonged sun exposure, as heat indices will soar into the triple digits. In your extended outlook, a tight pressure gradient between building high pressure and tropical storm Grace will support breezy conditions and pockets of active weather over portions of the southern islands while moving westward. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, we're looking at mostly sunny conditions in the northwest Bahamas, but cloudy, humid, and breezy with isolated showers and the slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm in the southeastern Bahamas. Thursday, variably cloudy and breezy with a few passing showers with a chance of an offshore thunderstorm. In the tropics, we're watching three areas. We've got Fred, we've got Grace, and we've got Henri. So, for Grace continues to reorganize as it heads towards Jamaica. Heavy rains causing flooding across portions of Hispaniola as well. And Grace now, as of this morning, just about 165 miles east of Montego Bay and about 385 miles east of Grand Cayman, moving towards the west near 16 miles per hour. It's forecast to track near the coast of Jamaica this afternoon and then move near the Cayman Islands tonight and then approach the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico by late Wednesday or early Thursday. Henri is out there in the Atlantic near Bermuda. Henri is moving toward the west-southwest near 5 miles per hour. It's forecast to make a west turn tonight and then slightly move faster westward through early Thursday and take a west-northwest or northwest turn late Thursday. Henri should pass well south of Bermuda by late tonight. And then there is Fred. Fred is now a tropical depression over southeastern Alabama, bringing heavy rain and flood threats inland and across portions of eastern Alabama and western Georgia. So things active in the tropics, but no direct threats to the Bahamas at all. That's your morning blend weather check.
This is Guardian Radio. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Getting a text here. Dwight, how do you register for the webinar? It's suppliers.gov.bs. Oh, is that to register for the whole thing? Anyway, go on the Department of Inland Revenue and their Facebook or website, but also suppliers.gov.bs is to register in general, but there might be some information there as well. All right, so just more on this procurement process. A great article in the Nassau Guardian from last week. Our Chester Robards writing about it, saying that the government will not be able to circumvent the measures put in place by the Public Procurement Act when it takes effect. All right, and this is coming on the heels of the Auditor General report revealing that the government did not disclose the names of beneficial owners of companies that received payments for the delivery of goods and services related to COVID-19 despite the request being made. Now, Roll last week said during a press conference that each government entity will have its own procurement unit and tender committee in order to award contracts from within their own budgets, reducing the bottlenecks experienced under the previous model. She said that in order to increase transparency, a detailed monthly report on contracts awarded will be published when the act comes into force next month. A detailed monthly report on contracts. She added that the law will not allow any leeway for the government to circumvent the process. She said, quote, "Our transparency includes a monthly report on all the contracts that have been awarded, to whom those contracts have been awarded, and the amount of those contracts. So you will find coming from us a complete transparent process from the new Public Procurement Department within the Ministry of Finance. There won't be an overstep of the government to say this is the supplier you must have. No, we're going to have a very transparent, efficient, operational e-procurement system that speaks to transparency and accountability and in full compliance with the Public Procurement Act. The audit report on the Auditor General's report on the IMF's disbursement of $250 million to address the COVID-19 pandemic, tabled in the House last week, revealed that $3 million of the $250 million rapid financing instrument, which was approved by the IMF in June 2020, was spent to pay overseas and domestic vendors. Specifically, the government spent $29,670,400 for overseas vendor payments and $33,668,242 for domestic vendor payments. The Auditor General, Terence Bastian, said that, quote, we were provided with a listing of suppliers of works and services that received payments for the delivery of goods and services related to COVID-19. A request was made for the beneficial ownership of these business entities. However, the same is pending. Reference is drawn to the law in the Bahamas governing beneficial ownership, in that confidentiality, access, and use of information is legislated. Now, in its most recent statement on investment in the Bahamas, as we talked about this last week on the show, the U.S. Department of State raised continuing concerns about the transparency of the Bahamas procurement processes and the perception of corruption that persists within it. Now, according to Gaynell Roll, the Ministry of Finance is currently looking for a chief procurement officer to head its public procurement department. The new law governing procurement is designed to increase accountability, transparency, and reduce the risk of political nepotism. It also ensures the government does not overlook small and medium-sized businesses when it comes to issuing contracts. All right, so the question again, as we'll get back to the article in a bit, is how confident are you that this will be the change that we've been talking about for decades in the country? Are you satisfied by what you heard this morning? Are you satisfied by what we've been promised for so many years, that this is the time that everybody's on board, that those who benefited from this system in the past will change their ways, that the new people in the system aren't going to say, it's time for me to get mine, and that I'm going to do whatever it takes as well? How confident are you that we finally have turned this corner? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. And the article goes on to say, quoting Roll, quote, government departments and agencies can use several different approaches to find the right suppliers of goods and services for government contracts. The law clearly defines rules regarding requests for quotations or proposals, limited, selective, or restricted national bidding. The new law requires every government agency to produce a detailed procurement plan at the start of the budget year and publish this report on the official website of the Public Procurement Department. This report will include a detailed breakdown of their procurement needs, estimated contract values, and how the goods and services will be used. Lastly, the new law makes special provisions for the minister to allocate a percentage of the procurement budget to small businesses, which are businesses with no more than a maximum of 50 employees and revenue under $1 million annually. Now, Roll says that more than 2,200 businesses have signed on to the e-procurement website, more than 2,200, and more than 33 agencies have been trained to use the new methods to award contracts. She says the Public Finance Management Act, Public Debt Management Act, and the Statistics Act came into force on July 1st, and along with the Public Procurement Act, were designed to raise the standard of existing government processes to meet global best practices with a focus on transparency and accountability. And she noted that the Public Financial Management Act introduces something called an objection to direction, which allows a public officer to dispute a directive given if they feel it breaches process and protocol. Okay. Hey, it sounds good. Again, let's hear what you say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you this morning, sir?
Doing well. Good morning.
Okay. That's you talking about the e-procurement system. I'm so glad that it's about to be enforced because the PLT started that, I think, in 2016 because I have signed up to it. I was about the 20th person signed up to it from 2016. To date, every time there's a contract that comes out from government agency, it comes across the system. But the government has yet to use the system. So I guess now that it's going to be enforced, it's going to be a good thing for Bahamians. But I want you to know one thing now. That e-procurement system, persons from all around the world could also place a bid also in the Bahamas too. Okay? It's not just for the Bahamas. It's for any company anywhere in the world place a bid on the system, and you could find it out for your clarification also, because that's what I'm being told on day one.
Yeah. That's
okay, thank
serious.
you, man.
Wow. Okay, thank you very much. Wow. So, objection to direction, and no persecution. You know, you're going to be fine. You're going to, you feel confident that's how that's going to go there. This is going to allow a public officer to dispute a directive given if they feel it breaches process and protocol. We've got ads running on this station every day about whistleblowers feeling that they're going to get in trouble if they say those type things. So it's going to be a whole new world if it can work. Roll also said, quote, essentially, if a public officer feels as though they were given a direction that goes against the act or any other regulation, there is now a legal process that empowers public servants to formally object. This involves a written objection to the minister or public officer that gave the direction with further oversight by at least two other stakeholders, including the permanent secretary, the chairman of the Public Service Commission, attorney general, or financial secretary. I mean, it sounds wonderful. It sounds wonderful. The intent here is to provide a way for the public officers to uphold their oath while protecting themselves against future liability. Okay. A big talk, a lot of promises. September 1st is going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. We're going to see what comes out of that, and we do hope it works out. We do hope we can improve our standings here, the feelings that we have when we do business with the government and government agencies and departments, and we hope we can improve our standings in the world on the global stage, right? So that we can shed that corruption image. It may not be as corrupt as some other places, right? With some big-time things happening under the table, but just a little tiny greasing of the palms or whatever it is that people do, image can't shake us and many other island nations. But are we really, really there? Are we really there? And we're going to be watching this very closely over the next few weeks, September 1st. Okay. And lots of messages still about our interviews earlier with Dr. Sands and the Assurance Association. So remember, you can listen to the shows again. Go back and listen. You can listen online, and you can listen for the replays later. And as we get ready to wrap up here, just a reminder about the seminar, the webinar tomorrow. You can get more information about this and register if you're going to one of these companies. They're going to be dealing with the government. And more information on suppliers.gov.bs, and that is for tomorrow. Okay. Hey, that is going to do it for us today. Everybody have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Got to rest this voice. And I'm next with On the Clock. Stay with us.